Hey, welcome back to part 3 of this series. So now we're going to talk about the more aggro control type of commanders. So for this one, I would generally recommend commanders that are under the 4 CMC or below. So earlier on, like most of the ones we spoke about, with the exception of Rafiq, are 5 CMC, right? So 4 CMC and below are generally the better ones. The first one I'd like to say, which is an equipment deck I recently made, is Akiri and Silas, and they are the partner commanders without the green color. So you have 4 colors, and understand that with every additional color you play, you have less consistency when it comes to mana, but you have a wider card pool. So the nice thing about Akiri and Silas is that one of it is 2 CMC, the other one is 3 CMC. Realistically, most of the time you'll just be using Akiri, but at times you'll want to have a Silas there, mostly for defense or to get back your artifacts, or rather equipments, back into your hand from the graveyard when they get destroyed. So why I would consider this pair to be more of a control build is you have access to 4 different colors. Once again, you can play all the most efficient types of removal. You're very low to the ground, you get them out really quickly. You can start aggressing as early as maybe turn 3. Yeah, let's say turn 3, because turn 1 you play a land, turn 2 you play Akiri, and turn 3 you swing in, something like that. So another commander that I also put into this category would be Skullbriar. So this one is the black-green commander. I believe it also has haste, it's black and green. So the nice thing about this one is that you have a lot of control options in Golgari, and at the same time he has the additional ability whereby he gets +1/+1 counters whenever he connects with damage. So normally this wouldn't mean much, because if it gets removed, it will lose all +1/+1 counters. But if it goes into your command zone, I believe, or into your hand, I think. Well, generally you want to move him back into the command zone. So anyways, when you recast him, he would retain those like +1/+1 counters. So that's the main point. So another one we'll look at, which is more back into Azorius, would be Sig River Guide. So that's a white-blue merfolk that has Island Walk, and he can also give himself or other merfolk protection from color for just 1 and a white. So the nice thing about that is you have a sort of like situational evasion. You have situational like protection as well for your commander. And also, because you're in blue and you're white, you're heavily into control colors, right? So you can sort of get away with running more of a control build around that, while at the same time be an aggressor. Then the next one is another Golgari. You'll notice like a lot of these commanders are in the control colors when they're in the lower CMC. So it's Glisa the Trader. So that's a 3 CMC, whereby it has first strike, death touch, I think, and when you deal damage to an opponent, you can, I believe, put an artifact back into your hand. So once again, it's a great way to get back utility artifacts as well as equipment, that sort of stuff. And it comes down early at 3. I think I already mentioned that. Then rather on a newer side, there's also this Kuronos Hound of Aetherios, I believe. So this one's really interesting. I really like it because even though it's just like black, white, and colorless, it has evasion, it has vigilance, it has lifelink, it has graveyard hate. So it pretty much has everything you kind of want in the commander. The only thing, I mean, a Voltron commander at that sort of CMC range, the only thing I wish that it could have, it could be pushed just a slight bit more, is perhaps if it had like additional color, because you're playing just black and white, even though traditionally that is one of the better control colors. It just feels like you have more options when you include a third color there. But once again, like, perhaps I'm asking for too much. And anyways, these are like some commanders that are lower in the CMC curve and are still playable in my opinion.